And we put the word out via electronic means, gave people an opportunity to email in, post questions. We got quite a few, and then somewhere along the line we had a glitch. So we lost a few, and then we opened it up again. But in the end, we did get, I think, about 35, 40 questions, and I hope to be able to answer most of them. What we will do is, through social media, through the new media, we will post all of the questions, and we will put formal responses, if you will. I don't know if that's quite the right word, but responses online, in all likelihood, to our Facebook page. So that doesn't mean if you still have a question that you can't ask the question today. If you have a question that comes up at any time, email it in, and we're going to use that means to try to communicate with our soldiers and airmen and family members too. Also, we had hoped we were going to be able to broadcast this live, through the internet to those people that couldn't join us. And we just learned this morning, a few minutes ago, we have some issues with bandwidth, and we can't push it out live. But within an hour, it'll be posted online. So if anybody does want to go back and watch it, listen to what's said, they'll have the opportunity to do that as well. So hopefully throughout the next hour and a half, during which time I'm going to talk to a few subjects, and actually, Chief Zelensky Hall did a very good job in several of those topics that I was going to address too. I may just re-emphasize the importance of some of the things that she said. But after I talk through a few items, we'll begin. I think we had 6 or 7 categories of questions, and we've got a couple of people in the audience that are actually going to ask the questions, and I'll do my best to respond to them. And then at any time, if anybody in the audience has any questions, they certainly are welcome to ask those questions. This, of course, is something we're all very, very familiar with, and I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago that we formally adapted our vision, our mission, and our goals. And it hasn't changed for those 5 or 6 years, and I think that's important. What's really important is that all of us understand that we, as the North Dakota National Guard, a valuable resource and a valuable asset to our state and nation. We're a dynamic, relevant force where everyone is a trained, mentored, and empowered leader. And I'll tell you, I think the best example I saw of that, and that the people of North Dakota saw as well, was in 2009. It was very evident from the activity, the mission success, the involvement of our Guard members during the flood of 2009, that our people were all very well-trained, mentored, and empowered leaders that allowed you to succeed as we served our state. Our day-to-day mission is, as you see there, providing ready units, individuals, and equipment, supporting our communities, our state, and our nation. And we talk about the dual mission, and we've sort of made it a tri-mission, but we all know that we have the federal mission serving the president when called upon. We are still a nation at war, have been now for over 10 years. And as you all know, and as was stated earlier, we've had over 3,500 deployments on the Army side and 1,800 on the air side. And we've been very successful in that federal mission, but we've also been very successful in the state mission and the community mission. And when I talk about the community mission, in my mind, that's what we end up doing in a drill status, AT status, where we have community projects, where we do volunteer work in the community, where we have a presence in the community and people know and understand what the North Dakota National Guard is all about. And of course, our 3 goals, and as you all know, my #1 priority, taking care of our people. As we developed our strategic plan, and we're in the process of updating it, we do that every 18 to 24 months, taking care of people is still the #1 priority for me, and I certainly hope it is for all of you as well. And we do that in many, many different ways, and there's no doubt in my mind that if we take care of our people, we take care of one another, we take care of our families, our employers, we will succeed, because we'll have the support, the resources we need, and our people will succeed in everything we ask of them. And of course, winning the fight is what we do when we talk about carrying out our state mission or our federal mission, and our ability, as ready units, ready individuals, ready equipment allows us to win that fight. And we always are faced with meeting tomorrow's challenge. Meeting tomorrow's challenge from the standpoint of what's on the horizon, what can we look forward to, what should we work towards, and what is it that we need to do to ensure that we will continue to be that dynamic, relevant force, whether it's mission-wise, equipment-wise, or personnel-wise. Talking specifically to taking care of people, I hope that all of you have taken the opportunity to read through my command philosophy. The command philosophy was something that was published last December, and we provided it out to the leaders from the top with the intent of it reaching every single soldier and airman at some point in the coming months. And we thought this was a great opportunity with all of you to republish it. You'll find it in the booklet. It's it's just a couple pages long, but it has what I consider to be 4 of the most important subjects or topics that all of us, as members of the North Dakota National Guard, as leaders, as NCOs, commanders, need to instill within ourselves as well as within all of our people. And I'm just going to highlight a couple of things that I think are very important and critical to our success. Obviously, you're going to see some of the same things once again as I talked to a minute ago. As you look at the command philosophy, number one is we want to make sure that we are able to win the fight. And when we talk about that, I see that every day, and a great example of our ability to win the fight, to succeed, is what took place 2 days ago when we did the second of 3 exercises as we prepared for the flood fight in the eastern part of the state. There was great publicity about that exercise. It was a communications exercise, and really the significance of that exercise was twofold. Number one, we want to make sure that when the flooding begins, we're as ready as we can be. And I saw that in the feedback I got from the exercise. It reassured me that our people are going to be ready in 2 or 3 weeks when that flood begins, and we're going to know what to do, who to turn to, and how to protect lives and property in North Dakota. And that, of course, leads to the second benefit and value of that exercise and the publicity of it, and that is to reassure the people of North Dakota that we're ready, we'll be there. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from the public as well. They feel good about what they see all of you do on a day-to-day basis, and when there is something like that exercise and the publicity of it, they understand that the North Dakota National Guard is there for them, and that it's a reassurance to them, quite frankly, that we will succeed. Taking care of people, we always want to make sure we take care of our people, and Chief Jelinski Hall talked briefly about resiliency. Resiliency is a critical part of our ability to succeed as soldiers, as airmen, as family members, as community members, as battle buddies, as wingmen. And last year we started the 3rd phase of phases 1 and 2 were focused specifically on suicide prevention, and we decided that for phase 3 we would expand upon that. Suicide prevention is absolutely critical. We need to do everything we can to protect our battle buddies and our wingmen and ourselves too. But we decided that we needed to broaden that topic and put it in the perspective of resiliency and building the resiliency within the force. I hope that most of you, and I know not all of you have seen it, but by the end of this year, you should all have seen the short 20-minute video that we produced here in the state. It's called "We're in This Together," and I would say I've probably watched it a dozen times, if not more. And every time I watch it, another tidbit of critical information in my mind comes out at me, another message about what we need to do to ensure success by taking care of our people and building that resiliency, so that no matter what we face, and you saw the 10 bricks here earlier with the challenges and the issues that all of us face at some point in our lives, no matter which of those may occur at any given time. I want to ensure that we have developed that resiliency to take care of one another as well as take care of ourselves. And one of the important messages in that resiliency video is simply knowing your battle buddy, your wingman, knowing your soldiers, knowing your airmen, and watching out for them. And if there is a problem, if you have a problem, or your battle buddy or wingman has a problem, it's a sign of courage to ask for help. It's not a weakness. And that you'll see that as well as a dozen or more other messages in that video. And I reinforce to you that I know what the feeling has been for decades about asking for help. I stand here and assure to you that there will not be any retribution if you ask for help. And it is a sign of courage, because I don't want to ever lose someone because they were afraid to ask for help because they thought maybe their commander or first sergeant or platoon sergeant might take a negative action against them. That's totally unacceptable in the North Dakota National Guard, as it is all across the country. So I stand here and reassure to you that that if you do have an issue in your life, asking for help is not going to be a hindrance to your career, because it truly is a sign of courage. In the command philosophy, we talk about meeting tomorrow's challenges, and I've said this. I think most of you have heard me give you my definition of leadership. And leadership, in my mind, very simply, is helping others see the future, and that's something I want to continue to stress. We all look to the future, and as leaders, it's our responsibility to help others see that future and to make things happen as we look to the future. And I'll talk a little bit later about some of the things I see on the horizon and some of the missions that I think we're going to be challenged with, but yet prosper from. Some of the issues that I think are truly opportunities, and we'll continue to grow as an organization. The first thing I got to do is quit playing around with this clicker so the slides don't move about. There we go. And lastly, in the command philosophy, there's a segment on leadership, and and there's quite a bit there. But the one thing I want to stress to you when we talk about leadership, and we're all leaders at every level, no matter who we are a leader in the North Dakota National Guard. Some have more responsibility than others, and that's okay. But we are truly all leaders. But the one thing that I need everyone to understand is that I demand integrity in all of you. Integrity from the standpoint of the actions you take, the things that you do, how you act while we'll say in a duty status as well as in a civilian status. And in the last few years, we've had some issues. We've had some issues with sexual assault, and we've had some issues with substance abuse and sexual harassment, and in several different areas. We all need to know and understand that many of those things are criminal activities, and we have zero tolerance for it. I have zero tolerance for it. We cannot let our battle buddy, our wingman, or ourselves get into a situation that suddenly we find that we've broken a law, or we have injured another person. If you take the time to read through it, and I talk more to it and what it is I expect of you. But when we talk about values, my personal number one value is integrity. Integrity in everything we do, we say, we act, the decisions we make. And I truly believe that if we can maintain a high level of integrity, we will continue to be looked upon as not only the greatest military in the world, but if you look at recent surveys, members of the military have the highest level of credibility, trust, and respect amongst the public of any of the professions. And we are, many of us are truly citizen soldiers, dual professionals, and that we are members of the military as well as whatever our civilian occupation may be. But when you wear the uniform and you walk down the street, the public knows and understands who it is, what we do, why we exist, what our value is to them. And we, as I said, have the highest level of respect and credibility and trust of the public than the military has had for probably decades. Thank you, thank you. The second thing I was going to talk briefly to is some of the current programs. I've kind of mentioned some of them actually. Earlier you heard about Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Earlier this week, myself and most all of the Adjutants General sat in on a briefing on Don't Ask, Don't Tell, sat in on the training for Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And as Chief Jelinski Hall explained, over the course of the next several months, we will all have the opportunity to learn more about Don't Ask, Don't Tell. As we speak, Don't Ask, Don't Tell, as we've known it for 30 years, is still in place. And that'll be true until the President feels, through his service chiefs, that the force fully understands the changes that were put into law last December. And if I can leave you with, I guess, two thoughts about Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Number one, Don't Ask, Don't Tell is simply about having dignity and respect for every single soldier and airman in the military. Remember those two words. It's about dignity and respect for one another. And with the changes that are occurring to Don't Ask, Don't Tell, bottom line is what it means is simply that we will not discharge anyone because of their sexual orientation, and their sexual orientation will never be a factor in recruiting and retention. Now, the law is not intended to change anyone's personal beliefs, but the law is intended to ensure that we truly treat everyone with dignity and respect, no matter what their sexual orientation may be. And you will, as I said, have an opportunity in the next few months to have further training on it. And it's something that we all need to know and understand, and in the end, treat one another with the proper dignity and respect that we all expect from one another. I talked briefly about resiliency. We're going to continue throughout the course of the year with the training, with the video, and we're already looking towards the next year and what we do to continue to ensure that all of our soldiers and airmen are strong in whatever we ask of them. And I'm not sure what that phase 4 is going to be, but we've already, in my mind, nationwide, we've seen success in what is being done across the country. Some of the numbers that the chief gave, show a slight decline from last year when we talk about suicide, suicide within the force. And the bottom line is, we want to reach a point where we don't have suicides whatsoever. But there are challenges, there are issues out there, and we can do a lot to help one another as we build that resiliency. It was mentioned earlier about the SAFR program, and for those of you that are engineers, it's not the SAFR program that you're familiar with. It's Sexual Assault Prevention and Response Program. We've had the opportunity to have several of our leaders train in formal training in the SAFR program, and that's filtering on down. And we've also had formal training for a number of you that are victim advocates of sexual assault. And these are important things for us to know and understand, participate in, because, as I said earlier, we have zero tolerance for criminal activity, sexual assault being number one issue. And it's something that we need to, again, take care of one another and ensure that if you see something happening, don't turn your eyes away from it. Take action to stop it, because we don't want to injure anybody in any way, shape, or form. Veterans outreach has been a big part of command programs in the last couple of years, and I think we truly, in my opinion, lead the nation in terms of what we've been able to build to reach out to everyone who's ever been a member of the military or still is. Our programs are not intended to be just for Guard members and their families. Our outreach programs, our military service center, and those of you that are from out of town, if you haven't seen the military service center down on 19th and Expressway, I'd encourage you to stop in today. Anybody who has any affiliation in any way, shape, or form with the military can stop in there, ask a question, try to get a solution to a problem, whatever the case may be, and we will help them. And because of that, we've enjoyed success with our legislature. I don't know what the numbers are today, but through last December, we had, I think the total was like nearly 14,000 contacts, opportunities where we have been able to reach out, help someone, point them in the right direction, or whatever the case may be. So Veterans Outreach is for everybody who's ever been in the military or their family members, and we're going to continue to grow that program. And a part of that is our family support and readiness program, and we've got an awful lot going on. And I hope that many of you take advantage of the opportunity tomorrow, if you haven't already registered for the family support, I think it's called the TAG Symposium for Families. Take advantage of that symposium, and we've got some great displays, booths out on the other side where you can pick up more information about what we're doing and what we can do to help you take care of your family or your fellow soldier or fellow airman's family. And as we all know, the families, if it weren't for the families and support that we all enjoy, we wouldn't be able to succeed. So we need to continue to grow that program and do everything we can to take care of our families. The next thing I'll just visit with briefly is communicating with the force. We are certainly a much younger generation today than we were just a few years ago. Here's a couple of interesting statistics. When we talk about the 4,500 members of the North Dakota National Guard, and by the way, our recruiting and retention has been better than it has been for about 15 to 20 years. On the Army side especially, we just continue to grow. We're still not quite at 100%, and there are some restrictions on our ability to reach that. Because as a whole, the Army National Guard is well above its authorized strength in the country. But as a force of 4,500, about 2/3 of you joined since 9/11. About 2/3 of you joined since we became a nation at war and continue to be a nation at war. And 100% of you either have joined since 9/11, re-enlisted since 9/11, or made the decision to continue on as a member of the North Dakota National Guard. And I add that last caveat for the officers, because as officers, we can retire, resign virtually any time, but 100% of our force has chosen to continue to be a part of the North Dakota National Guard, a critical element of our nation's defense at a time of war. And to me, that's pretty significant. We are truly an all-volunteer force and have been for quite a number of years. But I'm proud of what each of you continues to do on a day-to-day basis, and the fact that you're here. Fellow soldiers and airmen can't be here, but are still members of the North Dakota National Guard and the Army and the Air Force, in my mind, is a tremendous, tremendous statement. We always are looking for new ways to communicate, and I will tell you right up front that communications is an ongoing challenge and an issue. I hear this when I'm out and about, and I'm sure all of you have heard this too. It seems as though the difficulty is simply making sure that the message, the word, reaches everyone within the organization, and that's part of the reason why we have delved into the new media or social media. We do have Facebook, Twitter, Flickr. We're using all of those means of communication, and we want to continue to do that. I know there's a lot of, I don't know exactly where the Army is at right now, and maybe it's already implemented, but there's been discussion about issuing every new recruit on the Army side an iPhone or something like that, so that they can not only call one another, but text and access information. And I've been thinking about, okay, maybe we need to look at something like that for our soldiers and airmen here in North Dakota.